Okay, so today's video lesson is going to be discussing the similarities and differences between DNA and RNA. So up until this point, we've talked about DNA, and you should know that DNA is a type of nucleic acid, and so is RNA. So DNA and RNA are both considered to be a type of nucleic acid. And if you think back to Unit 1, remember that's one of our 4 biomolecules that all living things have. So they are both nucleic acid and are both composed of the monomer nucleotide. So they are both made of nucleotides. Remember, a nucleotide, let's review the structure of a nucleotide, has a phosphate group, a 5-carbon sugar, and a nitrogenous base. So this will be our sugar, and this will be our nitrogenous base. So there's our nucleotide. And we talked about how DNA structure, so you should remember that, and this is going to be a quick review over DNA. So just a reminder, DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And it is named after the sugar that it contains, which is deoxyribose. So deoxyribose is the sugar that is found in DNA. In eukaryotic cells, remember the DNA is located inside of the nucleus of the cell, and it contains the genetic code or the genetic instructions of the organism. Its shape equals a double helix that's anti-parallel. So remember, it looks something like this, where we have the inside, the rungs of the ladder, are our bases, and the outside is our sugar, phosphate, backbone. Okay. All right, so that's the structure of our DNA. And remember that the base pairs are what make up the genetic code. Do you remember the bases that are in DNA? There are 4 bases in DNA. The 4 bases in DNA are adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. So those are the 4 bases in DNA. Okay, so now let's talk about RNA. So we haven't talked about RNA yet, but it is a very important nucleic acid. So RNA actually stands for ribonucleic acid. And there are 3 different types of RNA. Now, what sets RNA different from DNA is several things. First of all, RNA is going to have the sugar ribose, is a sugar found in RNA instead of deoxyribose. It's going to be a single helix. So unlike DNA that's a double helix, it's just a single helix, so it's going to look like this. It doesn't have 2 sides. So you have the bases exposed. They're not held together by 2 sugar phosphate backbones. So we have ribose, it's a single helix, and instead of thymine, it has uracil. So instead of thymine, it has uracil. So uracil replaces thymine in RNA. Okay, we have three types. The first type is called mRNA. This stands for messenger RNA. And its job is going to be to make a copy of DNA and carry the instructions to the ribosome. Remember, the ribosome is the organelle that produces proteins. The next type is called tRNA. tRNA stands for transfer RNA, and it's going to bring the amino acids to the ribosome. And these will make sense whenever we get into the details of protein synthesis a little bit more. Okay, and the last type is rRNA, and this stands for ribosomal RNA. And so you guessed it, this is what makes up the ribosome, along with some proteins. Okay, so those are our three types of RNA. All three types are involved in protein synthesis. So we're going to be talking about all three and how each of them are involved in producing proteins inside of the cell. Okay, so quick overview. We've got DNA and RNA are both nucleic acids. They're both nucleic acids. They're both made up of nucleotides. DNA, remember, is going to be a double-stranded molecule. It's going to contain the entire genetic code, right? Has 4 bases that are called adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. RNA, on the other hand, is going to have the sugar ribose. It is a single helix, not a double helix. And instead of thymine, it's going to have uracil. So it does also have adenine, guanine, and cytosine. It just now has uracil instead of thymine. So uracil is the only one that's going to be different than the other, than DNA. There are 3 types of RNA, mRNA, tRNA, and rRNA. They each have a special role in protein synthesis and building proteins for the cell. Okay, so that was just a quick overview of DNA versus RNA, just to give you a little bit of a comparison of the two, so that when we get into talking about protein synthesis, which involves transcription and translation, you will have an understanding of these important biomolecules within our cells.